I'd argue that the upright piano is really the most important piano in most people's lives. Oftentimes you're coming from a worn out, non-functional spinet console upright, or maybe a digital piano that's an approximation of what a real piano is. This instrument is our first glimpse into the world of music making on an acoustic piano, and it's with so many thousands of parts. It's a complex machine, but it's also a milestone for so many families to have their own piano. These are part of your family, and these instruments will help inspire growth in music, inspire growth in the kind of sound you're trying to create, or they won't. So, what we're doing today is we're comparing a Boston UP-132 Performance Edition upright piano, manufactured in 2021, and a Yamaha U3 upright piano, manufactured in 2021. We selected various repertoire from the last several hundred years that gives you a chance to hear different registers, not just doing examples of chords or scales or arpeggios in given parts. I wanted you to listen to real music. And after each recording, you're going to hear my immediate feedback on what I felt after I played that piece. Something wonderful about this Boston piano, the height, the 52 inches, we have a rich sound. And that really helped us with the sustain in the various registers. I think very sonorous sound in the middle registers. As we get up, what I liked is that the sound projected but was not thin. There's still body to the tone and still a width to the tone. And that really helped the chords fill out, that helped the melody progress. And then when you need the power, it's there. It's on tap, and it's really easy to get the fullness of sound pretty quickly. It's right on demand with this Boston. So in Schubert, really pleasant directness of the sound from this piano. I don't have to work hard to gain accessibility to a very direct and clean sound. That's the best way I would describe it. Very, very clean. But particularly in chordal pieces like this, where we have a clear chord with a clear melody that comes out, it's more notable that I hear more of the fundamental and less overtones. I hear less colors. There's a little bit of a bloom that happens in the Boston after you play the chord. It's not just that direct E or the G sharp. You hear more overtones, you hear more colors, which gives you more to paint with. And I think that while this is very hyper accurate and direct, it doesn't have that dimensionality that the Boston does. So on the upright piano, we don't have the same level of control that we would have on a grand piano. And this instrument gave me incredibly high levels of control for an upright piano, playing at the bottom of the key treble with very fine note repetitions and very singing sound that allowed me to sew the notes together, kind of weave them together, and really tremendous sonic control of the decay. Everything was very full, but it was again easy to bring out the melodies that I needed to, and also easy to complement with a fullness of sound. This instrument was not performing at the softest levels of the dynamic range. We're not able to get a pianissimo out of it the way that I wanted to. Either it wouldn't sound or it would double strike. So I would have to give more power. So my volume level again moved up. I have less dynamic range. It's not so much just about playing the loud stuff and the sustain. Those are important things. But it's so important the colors you can make and the depth of tone and the balance and palette of colors that one has accessible to them in the softer dynamic ranges. Real pleasant surprise with this Boston. I enjoyed hearing such a rich sound and a really big sound in the Debussy. Great experience across the registers. I noticed more warm in the middle in the bass. I didn't feel it was more on the punchy side. I felt that it was more rounded again, like we've heard in some of the other repertoire. The main thing here is we got a lot of notes, and it's easy for me to hear the melodies and for me to, as a pianist, kind of push and pull the passage work with some of the melodic fragments. And that's something that's a testament to the action. So touch, it's very easy for me to bring things in and out of focus with this instrument. So in the Debussy, again, lots of power in this 52-inch upright. Similar to the Boston, I noticed a different kind of tonal profile. It was more immediately noticeable to me when the decay was occurring because the sustain, particularly in the upper registers, was not as great as the Boston piano. I found that we had a very sharp and clear attack of tone with a more rapid decay, which also meant that I heard the individual articulations better. That has a pro and con to it. The positive is you have great clarity and you have great definition, like in the Debussy in that fireworks run. And you can hear all the different voices, but you also lose the body and the sustain that carries an overall energy or volume in the piece. And that's something that I find myself trying to compensate with by giving more volume to compensate for the lack of sustain. So the best way I can describe playing this piano is it's just smooth in terms of transition when you're trying to ramp up power and fullness. And I found that it was never jarring. It was, again, a full sound like we've heard a lot from this piano, but a really easy transition into the bigger sounds. And I find it very easy to modulate even when I have a lot of resonance, the dampers are up, and I want to pull back a little bit. It's maintaining a lot of color. The soundboard is resonating very well, but I'm able to modulate very quickly. I have a lot of control even when I'm playing loud. In terms of the Scriabin, really nice, clear singing sound. I find myself not having to work as much to project the melody. Conversely, I find myself limited with how much I bring out supporting voices because of the directionality and immediacy of the tone and attack on the Yamaha scale, and also just the style of sound from the instrument. If I try to bring out other voices, there is a good chance that they might compete with some of the primary polyphonic elements that exist in a piece. So it's this game between having that clarity, bringing out what you like, having a good, clear, very fundamental tone, but not taking away from that. Transitioning quickly to the Rachmaninoff, big, robust, rich sound in the Rachmaninoff wasn't a problem for me to get anything out there. I find that this piano excels the most when there are passage runs that are moving quickly and utilize a good amount of pedal where we have motion that's uninterrupted. When that happens, it's easier to blend the sound together. And when I'm utilizing the pedal, some of that decay that I'm talking about gets masked. A lot of that rapid passage work coupled with the pedaling, they work in concert to blend together a sound that otherwise would sound a little bit more hollow with less pedaled repertoire. So when taking a look at the Boston piano, I feel a familiarity to tone and touch because it feels very similar to the Steinway grand pianos and the Steinway upright pianos. It's designed with a Steinway action geometry. It's very easy for me to transition from the Steinways that I was just practicing on to this instrument and vice versa. So the Yamaha piano, I do find that when I get towards the bottom of the key, even when regulated to Yamaha spec, there is a lack of control and repetition at the very softer dynamic levels. And that's really where the music making becomes interesting and where you can see a high level instrument excel. For the professional artist or the advanced artist at home, that becomes a necessity. For the developing young artists, it becomes a lifeline. And here's what I mean. If you have an instrument that's not able to give you as big of a dynamic range, especially with the soft stuff, then you're not growing. It's important that we look at these pianos as a tool for our growth, both as professionals and as students. The better the piano is at creating all of these sounds and all of these dynamic ranges, the more we can grow into the instrument. And I feel that the Boston does that very effectively. It challenges me to be a better pianist, and it challenges me to explore dynamic ranges on the far extremes of soft and loud, where the Yamaha piano hits a wall, both in terms of if I go any softer than this, it won't respond well. And if I go any louder than this, then the sound will become more brutal. You have to think about what instrument is going to inspire you and what kind of sound you're looking to make. Are you looking to make the sound of a Yamaha 9-foot concert grand at home, the sound of a Steinway 9-foot concert grand at home? What instrument are you preparing for in the teaching studio, in the concert hall? And which family of piano do you want to invest in? The Steinway family of pianos, the Yamaha family of pianos. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking a glimpse into these instruments, listening to all of this repertoire. We hope that this music inspired you to come to us in our stores here in Newton or in Waltham and to tickle the ivories and experience some of that tone and touch for yourself as you decide which instrument is a perfect fit for your home. Thank you.